Coming up in the morning edition, hundreds returning to work today as the Atlantis resort reopens. We are live on property. Also,
we're really hoping for a real robust rebound.
Union officials remain optimistic on this red letter day. Are you concerned about dry or tired eyes? We have some answers.
The whiter the screen, the more light is reflected back into your eyes. The darker the screen, the less light is reflected back into your eyes.
And
on this truck are two very special girls, our seafood duff and our crab and dough duff.
We've got the secret ingredients for a sea duff. These stories and much, much more when the morning edition comes right back.
First, it's more than just our name, more than just our achievements. It's our nature, and it's where we put our customers. At Bahamas First, we've refreshed our look, but our nature remains the same. We design insurance solutions that protect our customers from life's uncertainties, whatever they may be. We equip you for the future so that you can recover stronger. Bahamas First, what's first for you comes first for us.
During this pandemic, it's our duty to ensure that all citizens, residents, and visitors are adhering to the COVID-19 safety protocol. Every person shall practice physical distance between themselves and others who are not of the same household of no less than 6 feet. I am Ambassador Amanda H. Gum of the COVID-19 Enforcement Unit. Save a life that may be your own.
This message brought to you by the Ministry of National Security in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation.
When the temperatures drop, these words of wisdom will warm your soul. Good morning, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis. Thanks for tuning in. Expect some cloudy and cool conditions through tonight as a high-pressure system dominates conditions across this country. Conditions will become more breezy during the evening hours with stray showers likely. But you may want to keep those blankets out as the temperature will hit the low 70s. Let's take you out to our streets this morning where Anthony Smith and the morning team are standing by with your daily traffic commute.
The traffic report is sponsored by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
Good morning, LaDawn, and a pleasant good morning to all our viewers there at home. Your Thursday morning traffic report comes to you live from Paradise Island. We are just at the foot of the Stir City Point Tier Bridge. The Paradise Island toll booths are behind us, and we are gearing up for what I call the Great Paradise Island Commute 2020. And I know that may sound dramatic to all our viewers at home. However, this bridge is about to see activity that it has not seen in months, with several hundred Atlantis workers set to come back to work today. You know, that night might now mean more congestion for your daily commute out in the East Bay area, so you want to watch out for that. Already we have seen so much cars come over that toll booth. It's definitely something that we have not seen since the early stages of the pandemic. And speaking of congestion, we also want to enlighten you to a developing situation over at Thompson Boulevard or University Drive, however you may call it. An Island Luck giveaway is resulting in massive amounts of traffic all over the island. We have traffic congestion west of Portico Road, north of Moss Road, on the Yellow Elderway and Bahama Games Boulevard. So if you're making your commute to work this morning, you might want to rethink going around those areas or finding an alternate commute. Now, I want to take you back here and remind you that you must practice caution in this area of East Bay Street, especially if you're going to work this way. And before I leave you, I want to leave you with some stats overnight. According to the Royal Bahamas Police Force, there have been 14 accidents throughout the capital, 10 of which were in New Providence. 2 hit and runs, but none resulting in serious injuries. However, from traffic incidents throughout the entire week, We have 10 hospitalized and 6 from Abaco. And the Royal Bahamas Police Force, they really want to admonish you and ask you to practice caution on the roadways throughout the Bahamas, especially for those in Abaco. That's all I have for you now. I'm going to toss it back to you in the studio, LaDon.
Thanks a lot, Antoinette. The scene on Paradise Island coming alive at this hour. The long-awaited Phase 1 opening of the Atlantis Resort is underway. The property is welcoming back hundreds of its employees after a long closure due to the pandemic. Lloyd Allen is at the Atlantis Resort with executive officials.
Yes, good morning, LaDon. Good morning, Bahamas. It's a red-letter day over here at the Atlantis Resort. Employees finally returning back to work after almost 9 months of being at home and under restrictions like many of us. Now, joining us here on the morning edition is Ms. Karen Carey. She's the Senior Vice President for Human Resources. Karen, like your senior executives out here this morning, you are excited.
Oh, we're very excited. We're elated, actually. So happy to have the majority of our team members back, welcome them here, and also to welcome our guests back today. So this is a special day for us.
Now, of course, we know that a significant number of employees arriving today. Talk to us about those numbers and some of those checks and protocols in place to keep them safe while they're here.
Well, in our phase 2 opening, as you're aware, we're so happy to welcome back 2,500 of our team members, and that's phenomenal for us. So they're coming in to a whole new environment, a lot of work, a lot of protocols, a lot of changes, lots of exciting things that's happening. But more importantly, it's just learning to ensure that we're keeping ourselves safe, keeping our team members, their well-being is crucial to us. And as a result of that, ensuring that our guests are also safe and feeling happy about being here and just experiencing our Bahamas at heart, the love that we give and the spirit that we give every day.
And of course, we know that a significant number of your guests, are arriving back today, and numbers will continue to grow, we expect. But talk to us about your staff complements specific to those departments to facilitate those guests once they arrive.
Well, we have so many departments, so many operating departments. We've got the water park, and our guests, they love that, looking forward to that. We've got our restaurants, so we've got a lot of our servers. We've got a lot of our chefs, our culinary team. They're all excited. We've got our room attendants. They're here. We've got all of our landscapers. We've got all of our engineering, our facilities. We've got lots and lots of course, we've got IT, we've got all of our support departments. So there's a lot of people that are here to support our guests and ensure that we're operating in a safe zone and just having a great experience.
Now, speaking about that safe zone, I know, of course, training has been a big part of preparing employees before they arrive back here today. Talk to us about training and what have they been taught to prepare themselves, keep themselves healthy, but also identify others who may have COVID symptoms.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of training over the last few weeks to get ready for this. So every single member, from the president all the way to our frontline manager, our frontline team member has gone through the training. We have developed very specific, very strict protocols. Unfortunately, we can't hug and we can't touch everybody as we used to. With our team members as well as our guests, we've got a lot of repeat guests. So it's about, so it's really about even the service levels, how we welcome, how we interact, how we engage with them. Even in the water parks, we've got to be, we've got to be very cautious and careful about each of those. And really, we're operating in pods as well, so that we're ensuring that we're containing. If we do have, sometimes the reality is that we may have a positive experience, positive with someone. So we just want to make sure that we're containing those. But more importantly, we want to ensure that we're keeping each other accountable, and that's what's going to help us really ensure that we're having a safe zone. And that we're practicing those protocols not just here, but also in the homes and in our public areas when we're out on the streets.
Well, thanks a lot, Karen. Of course, accountability is a big part of returning employees back today. Also joining us this morning is the marketing director, managing director, as well as the president, Ms. Audrey Oswald. Ms. Oswald, it's a big day here at Atlantis. Of course, I know you're excited. It's history being made. Tell us, how are you feeling today?
Oh, I can't even describe the feeling. We're so excited to be opening to guests and, more importantly, welcoming our team members back and really signifying the reopening of tourism for the country.
Now, we know, of course, part of the challenge for some of your guests has been really getting back here to the country. I know that your company has announced some chartered flights, but how are you facilitating those flights as well as facilitating guests to get back here?
Well, you know, one of the challenges we have been to get airlift here. We have a lot of demand. We have a lot of reservations. We see that our guests are staying longer also, which is a great sign. The one thing that's been holding us back a little bit is the challenge of airlift. And we're hoping that our partners at all the major airlines that service Nassau, Paradise Island, will step up and take a risk, just like Atlantis did to be the first major resort to open, to step out and bring airlift from our main feeder markets to help get our guests here.
And tell us about advertising. I know that it's transformed, obviously, as a result of COVID, but how has your advertising campaign changed and will change over the next 2 weeks and months?
Well, certainly the tone of our messaging has changed. We want to acknowledge that many individuals around the world have been through a tough 8 or 9 months, as have many of our team members, and some of it continues. But, you know, it's time to recover. It's time to move forward, onward, and upward, and we hope that our messaging certainly portrays that tone, while at the same time we have the protection of our PI bubble, which is really important to us, and we believe that we have the right protocols in place to keep our guests and our team members and, most importantly, our community safe.
Now, you mentioned the PI bubble. We've heard a lot about the bubble concept, but tell us, how do you foresee that developing over the next few weeks and months?
You know, we're starting out slowly, just like we're doing a soft reopening. So right now, the PI bubble includes Atlantis, Paradise Island, Comfort Suites, Four Seasons, and our Ocean Club golf course, and all of the guests that are staying at any of those properties. We're hoping in the upcoming weeks, with getting the right testing in place, that we'll be able to expand that to our local residents of Paradise Island and Nassau to welcome them into our restaurants and facility. But we want to roll out slowly. Safety is our priority, and we're not going to jump the gun and make foolish decisions that don't ensure safety.
Now, earlier, Karen spoke about training and protocols for employees, but talk to us about some of those requirements for guests once they're here in the bubble to keep themselves safe and others.
Sure. Well, as you know, guests require a negative PCR test to get into the country, but our protocols for guests are pretty similar to those of our team members. Wear your mask, and wear it properly. Wash your hands frequently. We have physical distancing throughout the resort, including all our restaurants, our pool decks, our Stars cafeteria for our team members, all back-of-house spaces. Everything's been properly distanced, and we partnered with Doctors Hospital and local health officials, as well as with Cleveland Clinic, to develop a 300-page Atlantis playbook, and we will follow it very carefully.
And, of course, we know that today is phase 1 of your reopening. Talk to us about the next phase.
Okay. Well, we really look forward to the next phase. As exciting as today is, we acknowledge that there's still quite a few of our team members that are not back with their Atlantis family. So as we reopen and as business builds and we expand and open additional towers, we're starting with Royal and Reef. As we expand, we can't wait to phase 2 to call back more of our team members.
All right. And so, of course, any final words?
I want our team members, I just want to go out to them and say that I know some of you are still not back with us. We look forward to the day that we can welcome all of you back, and I want to thank all of our team members and government for standing behind Atlantis throughout this ordeal.
All right, so you heard it directly from the president. Of course, Atlantis is moving forward with phase 1 of its reopening, and that will transform over the next 2 weeks, moving into phase 2. Reporting from the Atlantis Resort for the morning edition, Lloyd Allen, ZNS Network News.
And we're very excited for the Atlantis employees. Thanks a lot, Lloyd. The move today by the Atlantis is welcoming news for the country's #1 industry, the hotel sector, and the economy. President of the Hotel Workers Union, Darren Woods, shares his hopes for the future of the industry.
We're really hoping for a real robust rebound, because our concern would have been, of course, the numbers that seem to be tripling in the U.S. in terms of infected persons. Will those persons who may be now furloughed too have disposable income to travel? Will they be prepared to travel? And I think it was important for us as a nation to be able to control our numbers, for one, to send a signal that we are healthy enough for persons to come here.
Woods remains optimistic that employees' return to work will largely depend on occupancy.
We would have missed the traditional Thanksgiving period which is normally a kind of high travel point for persons. So we don't know what their bookings are for the rest of December and going into January, but we know traditionally everything kind of tapers off around about this time, and it picks up just after Christmas going into, of course, for John Canoe and all those stuff, but there are some indications that persons are still prepared to travel.
The opening of the Atlantis resort will be followed by the British Colonial Hilton on December 15th and Bahamar on December 17th. Director of Labor John Pinder is hoping such reopening gives the country the economic boost it really needs.
We're praying that they have some good numbers to start off with. We're praying that there's no COVID incidents that will cause the government to have to revisit the opening. We're hoping that the company itself will have all the necessary testings in place and the regular testing just to ensure that everybody's safe, including their staffers. With that, persons coming and they're able to share that they was in the Bahamas without any problems at all, and we don't take them to too much stressful events that will cause them to not want to come back at this time. We're just hoping that they will come, and they'll come in large numbers, and we're able to start to see the economy rebound.
As hotels begin to reopen, the Bahamar property is also showing off its new water park. Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis, toured the construction site yesterday. The $250 million water park is part of Bahamar's Phase 2 development. It provides attractions for all ages. About 85% of the value of the project has been contracted to Bahamian companies. Close to 400 Bahamians have been employed since the project started, and at least 400 new jobs are expected when the water park opens in July of next year. And still to come, what will it take to protect the country's marine resources? We have that story and much more when the Morning Edition continues.
Hi, I'm Beverly Curry, host of Ordinary People.
And I'm Robert Johnson, the editor and the producer of this amazing show.
This is the season to be jolly, to be merry, and we are going to put some smiles on some faces.
Let's be real. 2020 sucked, but there are a lot more unfortunate people in the world than us.
This is a way of giving, and we intend to select 10 families who are less fortunate than us, and you would have to nominate that person, and we have a panel of judges who will select why that person is in need. So you write in and say why that person should be the recipient of what we are going to dish out.
Ordinary People this year is turning despair into hope.
Yes, we are transforming lives. We are putting that smile on your face. So it's Ordinary People doing
extraordinary things.
Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.
The government stepping up efforts to protect the country's marine resources while preventing illegal fishing in Bahamian waters. Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources, the Honorable Michael Pintard, says new legislation that will pave the way for that to happen will be debated during the next sitting of the House of Assembly.
It is our hope that we will be debating on the 16th, and so we're quite excited. We think this is really historic. We are one of the few countries in the jurisdiction whose waters have not been, in this region rather, whose waters have not been fished out. So we have an obligation to future generations to protect it. We take no joy in young men from other countries who are being incarcerated in the Bahamas for violating our laws, but we have an obligation to protect our waters, our marine products for future generations.
Minister Pintard says penalties will also be increased for persons poaching in our waters.
We're excited about the pending introduction or amendment of the Fisheries Act. That's going to go a long way in doing a number of things, including stiffening the penalties for persons who are engaged in illegal, unregulated, and unreported fishing in Bahamian waters. For at least 10 years, stakeholders throughout the Bahamas have been engaging in consultations and discussions with respect to this fishery bill. And so, you know, the time is now.
The body of former Member of Parliament, Speaker of the House of Assembly and Deputy to the Governor General James Oswald Ingram will lie in state in the foyer of the House of Assembly from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. today. Family members and invited dignitaries will view the body between the hours of 9 a.m. to noon. As the House of Assembly building is a public place, the wearing of masks is mandatory, as is social distancing and adherence to and observance of all relevant health protocols. Viewing for the general public will take place from noon to 3 p.m. this afternoon. On the computer day and night and not sure why your eyes are tired, dry, or sandy, Kelsey Johnson chats with an expert and shares answers in this report.
Browsing the internet, gaming, or watching your favorite show add to that virtual learning, and the digital age has added considerable strain to the eyes. In fact, ophthalmologists anticipate virtual learning will drive increase in eye strain and say it is the biggest challenge of distance learning. Dr. Keith Rogers, a well-known and respected ophthalmologist, says not everyone will be affected, but those who are will suffer convergence.
When we talk about eye strain, that usually means either, one, the eyes are getting tired from looking at the screen, or two, in some instances, some people have difficulty focusing up close for long periods of time. We call that accommodative insufficiency. Accommodation is the act of actually looking at something up close. There are some people who have convergence insufficiency. They can't hold their eyes in for long periods of time. So in the latter case, there are exercises that can be done to accommodate that. In the case of people who have trouble focusing for any period of time, sometimes we have to give them a pair of reading glasses to help them to be able to read for prolonged periods of time.
When it comes to studying or working on computers, most ophthalmologists recommend the 20-20 rule, a 20-second break from looking at a screen every 20 minutes. They contend this can help prevent the eyes from drying out. It's also recommended computer screens be at least 16 to 24 inches from a child's face and slightly below the eye level to help reduce strain. Blue light glasses are also helpful.
More recently, people have been advocating the use of blue lenses or lenses that block out the blue light. And the blue light, for whatever reason, seems to be have an impact on the eye that people think may cause more eye strain. The whiter the screen, the more light is reflected back into your eyes. The darker the screen, the less light is reflected back into your eyes.
Rogers believes most kids should have their eyes examined as early as age 5 or 6.
If parents notice anything untoward about their eyes, like for example, sometimes you find a kid and they'll get right up close to the TV, and it may be because that kid is short-sighted. That's one of the earliest signs of short-sightedness. So those kids need to be examined. Apart from that, if a kid seems to be tracking okay and following images okay and making eye contact, then they're usually perfectly okay.
Kelsey Johnson, ZNS Network News.
On a more cultural note, the threat of COVID-19 has forced a delay in the outreach initiatives for members of the One Family Junkanoo organization. Former chairman and member Darren Bastian says while the work had to be placed on hold and a number of members directly impacted by the virus, the group has done some personal enrichment and hopes to be back up and running in the new year.
One Family is big on community outreach, and I think we have used this time to do some in-reaching, so to speak, because many of our members have been impacted by COVID-19. So this has given us an opportunity to take care of ourselves for once, and because of that, we continue to remain strong and vibrant.
And when we come back, are you considering holiday dieting? Some tips straight ahead in the Morning Edition.
During this pandemic, it is our duty to ensure that all citizens, residents, and visitors are adhering to the COVID-19 safety protocol. Restaurants may operate utilizing curbside pickup, drive-through, takeaway, or delivery. Any establishment who allows the entry of any person not wearing a mask is liable upon a summary conviction to a fine of $500. I am Ambassador Ashanti Ruka of the COVID-19 Enforcement Unit. Save a life that may be your own.
This message brought to you by the Ministry of National Security in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
Christmas spirit is definitely in the air, and holiday weight gain remains a major concern for many residents who will indulge in all of the ham, turkey, and yams this season. In fact, statistics show that between mid-November and mid-January, adults in Western societies gain an average of 1 pound. Health and fitness coach Matson Delancey says in the hype of celebrations, Bahamians should begin to monitor their portion sizes over the holidays.
Sugary foods, going for the extra carbs, the potato salads, the macaronis, the rice. For anyone that's looking to cut down in their weight and looking to do their best to be ready for 2021 in January to get back in the gym full force, I would say just manage that. If you're not eating less carbs and keeping up with your vegetables, having lots and lots of those, having a good amount of protein to your diet, which will be, of course, in this case, the turkey and then a little bit of ham, definitely just watching your carbs. And then some of those things have a lot of sugar to it, especially the way we cook as Bahamians, so it only sets them up to not have the best start of the year.
And while the holidays often involve more alcohol, while that's the case for many, for others, work parties and social events will result in more drinks than usual.
Drinking, yeah, we want to be very careful of how much we consume. Having a few libations is fine. It's just going overboard, having that extra 5, 6 glasses or shots of anything, and then being very particular. Like gins and anything that's clear is usually pretty good, but anything that's dark has a lot more sugar to it, and then it just adds more fat over time.
You may have heard of guava duff, but what about sea duff? Well, it's made from most of the delicacies from the sea like conch, lobster, and even grouper fillet. We spoke with a chef from one of our southernmost islands to find out about the special ingredients that go into the secret dish and what else is on the menu.
All these flavors on my truck represent the kitchens of Ragged Island.
Nestled inside a colorful kitchen on wheels parked on the grounds of Bahama Harvest on Prince Charles Drive lies scrumptious cuisines whipped up by chefs from Sea Duffs and Ocean Foam. Winners of the Ministry of Tourism's 15th Annual International Cultural Fest for the most original Bahamian dishes, Sea Duffs and Ocean Foam has satisfied the cravings of its customers for years. Owner and musician Joan Culmer.
It's a seafood truck. So on this truck are 2 very special girls, our seafood duff and our crab and dough duff. But everything else on the truck is totally, I buy here, that comes out of our waters, except for the shrimp and the salmon. And they are the only 2 things that we buy that are frozen. Everything else comes onto the truck, absolutely fresh every week. We have 4, I think, in total. And you can mix and match what you want in your box with things from our menu like empanadas and conch cakes, macaroni, coleslaw, greens, snapper. Whatever you want, you can mix and match 2 meats and 3 sides in your box for $20.
But that's not all, though. Joan says the sea duff is a popular seller for Bahamians, and she hopes that this brief demonstration will encourage others to try it.
A sea duff is comprised of steamed bread that has rolled into a jelly-like form, whatever the flavor of the sea meat is. And this one here is crab and dough, and this is crab fat with ground conch and crab meat that's rolled into the dough. And the foam is actually the sauce that goes on top of this.
Culmer says even though COVID-19 and all of the restrictions put a dent in business, the appetites of Bahamian seafood lovers have made all of the challenges worth it.
We had to start this business at least twice because of the lockdowns, which were necessary, and just because of the pandemic. We've had challenges just like everybody else, health challenges, financial challenges. But one thing I can say, I'm glad that Bahamians have a good appetite, because whenever we have come out, because the product I know is a good product, and we keep our standard of excellence.
And those conch cakes were pretty good. And that's a wrap for us this morning. For the entire team, I'm LaDawn Davis. Make it a great day, everyone.
You're watching the ZNS Network.